Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this update we're going to do a deep dive into the reflation trade. Now, if that sounds like it's something familiar, well, it should be, because we've been talking about reflation here at Simpler for a while. And I would encourage you guys just to go into YouTube, search Simpler Trading Reflation, and you're going to see a bunch of videos from me, a great video from John. And these are conversations that we've been having consistently for some time. So first of all, what is reflation? Well, it's just inflation coming on back. Where does reflation impact us as futures traders, stock traders, ETF traders, and then option traders of those three groups? It impacts us because now we can look at certain types of markets with a much higher expectation of moving higher when they are going to be benefiting from what? A weaker dollar and quite frankly, just higher prices. And it doesn't even need to be higher demand. Okay. So it's not necessarily that, for example, the chart of corn that you have up here in front of you is necessarily higher in demand, although there is a lot of chatter about China not meeting their corn demands and soybean demands. So there are grain demands, but then you add that reflation trade to this demand conversation, and that really sets us up for terrific movement higher. Well, in both the futures room and in the Sector Secrets Mastery, we have been long ZC futures. Now, you can play this two ways. You can play this with ZC, futures traders, great leverage, but some traders don't want to have to worry about trading futures and first notice date and rollover and such, so they'd rather play corn, CORN, which is the ETF. And now you can play a pretty decent liquid options chain. And that's how we've been trading this in the Sector Secrets room. And we've been long since, gosh, how long have we been long? Since the 18th of March. So not of April, 18th of March. So we've been long this contract for a month. And why? Well, a lot of you that know my work, you might say, Rob, don't even say it. Double green. There, I said it. Double green. The structure of the 8, 13, 21, and then 34 EMAs have been consistently bullish. And even when we take a breather, because the previous trend was long, we stick with the trend. All right. And that's your JT multi-trend sitting at the bottom of my chart. Okay, what else do we like? Well, so we have ZC and corn. We also have, and you might have remembered just a couple days ago, we did a free video on beans. I said, hey, beans are getting ready to move higher. They're sitting in the wave. Gang, you know what this move of beans reminds me of? And some of you might have just taken this move. Take the symbol away for a minute. This reminds me so much of what just happened in Google. You might know this pattern. John slayed this pattern. This is the same type of pattern I took advantage of to play beans. Learn the patterns, and then you won't even care what's in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, the symbol. So what do we have here? Well, much like in the case of Google, we have an uptrend here. It started to take a little bit of a breather, but what did it do? It maintained support around the wave, and before the sideways market, before this compression or consolidation, we had bullishness. And bullishness, when we have a market that is compressing, always, gang, expect the continuation. Always expect the market is likely going to move higher. Now, I'm not saying it always will. What I'm telling you is to always have that bullish attitude. Do not assume a reversal. Most compression will have a more will be influenced more, okay? Mostly compression will be influenced more by the trend that preceded it. This is Charles Dow 101, gang. Stick with the trend. And pauses in the trend are not reversals, okay? So ZC, and then there is a alternative in the SOYB. Okay, so I promise you a deep dive into inflation. Let's keep going, all right? What else can we look at? Well, for right now, gang, go ahead and just kind of put crude oil and RBOB gas, or USO, and the UGA ETF on the back burner. I think we will see rotation back into these markets, but for now, we are definitely seeing that the oil sector and this particular pocket of energy, which is typically going to benefit from inflation, taking a breather. Don't dismiss it. Keep an eye on it. It will, I believe it's going to continue again, especially in the UGA and the RBOB. Again, look at the trend that preceded and look at this compression. Look at all those blue grab candles. Look at the yellow sideways neutral. This is likely going to continue higher. I love that RBOB. I love that UGA. Perfect reflation markets just need that push again. We're just not there right now. All right, what else? Well, there are certain countries that are going to disproportionately benefit from reflation, and they are commodity economies, which have what's known as a COM dollar, a commodity dollar. That's going to be currencies like the Canadian dollar. Now, some of you might say, Rog, I don't know that I want to play futures, or, I don't play Forex. That's okay. You can play the FXC. But one of the things that we've chosen to do in the Sector Secrets room is go with Canada. So we just got long Canada instead. Look at the structure of Canada as opposed to the Canadian dollar. Another market that we're watching really closely, both in the futures room, is the Australian dollar. The 6A Australian dollar, it's a COMDOL, and it's more tethered to miners. In the premium video, we'll do a little bit more of a deep dive into Australia, miners, and gold. Australia is the third largest digger of gold. All right, so we're going to keep an eye on this, but this is not quite as ripe as that EWC and EWA. But EWA is looking pretty darn good. So if you're thinking, I really like this narrative around reflation, I'm just not seeing it in the currency, take a look at EWA. So there you have a mixture of the futures contracts and a number of ETFs. Gang, I don't care if you're primarily an option trader, futures trader, or Forex trader. Find the connective thread. Your connective thread here is macro. And a macroeconomic environment of reflation is going to benefit these markets that we've talked about. Hope that helps. Hope that adds something helpful to your watch list, things to keep an eye on. A little bit out of the box, but gang, tell you what, when you take a look at the commodities cycle, which I believe is just getting started, I do think, I don't know, I'm not going to call it a super cycle. Let's not embrace hyperbole here, but please put these symbols, whether they're the futures variety or the ETF alternative, on your watch list. Okay, they've been on ours for a while. They continue to be the gift that keeps on giving, and I definitely want you guys to benefit from that. All right, I'll see you all in the next update.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency. It's one of the things that won me